A drop-down menu allows users to select from multiple options in a drop-down list. This HTML page shows an example of a drop-down menu. When we click the menu button, the list appears with 4 options to click on. When we click our mouse off the drop-down list, the list disappears. To create a drop-down menu, we start with a div element and assign a class attribute set to Dropdown. Next, we create our button inside the div. The button element has a class attribute with 3 classes: button, button primary, and drop-down toggle. We also need to create a data toggle attribute and set it to dropdown, as seen here. This attribute is required in order for the menu to work. Next, we have our label. In this case, we've attached the label menu to this button. The span element contains a class set to caret. This creates the small arrow icon next to the menu label. The drop-down menu list items must be contained in an unordered list element, with the class set to drop-down menu. Next, we define the list items one at a time. So here we have 4 list items. Each has a link attribute and a label: option 1, option 2, 3, and 4. We can create a drop-down divider by adding a list item with the class divider. So we'll go ahead and add a divider here. So I've saved the page, and when I refresh, you can see that we have a faint divider after option 4. So after the divider, you can continue adding additional list items. So we'll add option 5 and 6, save the file, and we can see that option 5 and 6 are now divided from options 1 through 4. We can add drop-down headers by creating a list item and creating a class set to drop-down header. So we'll just go ahead and create a header. And you can give your header any name you like. We'll call it header 1. So I've saved the file, refresh the page, and there's our header. We'll create another header after our divider, and we'll call it header 2. A list item can be disabled by applying a class set to disabled on the list item. So if we want to disable option 1 and 2, you simply give it a class of disabled. And we can no longer click on option 1 or 2. We can right align the drop-down menu using the drop-down menu right class, and this class must be added to the UL element. And after refreshing the page, we can see that the menu now appears on the right side. I'll remove that for now. And we can also change the orientation of the drop down to drop up. This will cause the menu to expand in an upward direction rather than downward. And to do so, we simply change the div class here from drop down to drop up. Now there likely won't be enough space for it to be visible, so I'd have to create some breaks. And we can see that the menu now comes upward rather than downward.